So, what does labor feel like? And how do I know if I'm in labor? How do I know what's going on? I'm sure these are questions that are very present in your mind, especially if you're a first-time mom. But even sometimes with second-time moms, that amnesia comes for us, and sometimes we know what an induction feels like, but we don't know what a natural birth feels like. So let's talk a little bit about that. First of all, you're going to be experiencing some contractions in your pregnancy. These are called Braxton Hicks contractions. It's your uterus getting ready, kind of like pumping iron and getting ready to do the hard job before they bring your baby home. When you are experiencing those Braxton Hicks contractions, if you touch your finger to your belly, it probably will feel a lot like your chin, where it's kind of soft on the outside but hard down below. That is a good way to measure, is this a Braxton Hicks contraction? Yes, it is. When you get into those early labor contractions where they're definitely starting to get stronger, but how do you know, is this full-on active labor or is this still kind of like an amping up? That's gonna feel like your nose. So it's definitely firm on the outside, but not hugely different from here, just slightly. When you're in active labor, your belly will likely feel as hard as your forehead. Crazy, I know. Especially if you've never experienced before, that's hard to imagine, but yes, your belly will get as tight as your forehead. So this can be a good measure for you to kind of be like, do I still need to be focusing on resting, or should I be calling my care provider? Different things like that. Contractions, normal physiological contractions, usually the first few ones are going to start low, kind of like, think like a menstrual period cramp, something like that. Active labor contractions usually either start in the back and wrap around the front, or start in the front and wrap around the back. Totally normal, because remember, your whole uterus is working, and the harder it's working, the more it influences the rest of your body. That's why a lot of the times if you're having intestinal issues, then you might get cramping as well. This is why a lot of times when we're on our periods, period poops, not so much fun. Because our body is a whole system that is influenced by each other. And so the harder your uterus is working, the harder the rest of your body is working. So remember, take that time to rest, take that time to be patient through the process. It's all normal. Now, if you are feeling just completely out of control, it doesn't matter how intense the contractions are. If you are just feeling panicky, scared, when you are panicky and you are scared, you are not relaxing. So I don't want to hear about you tensing up your shoulders. Oh, it's a contraction. It's a contraction. I don't want to hear those things, okay? Here's what I want you to do, and this is what I want your partner to help coach you through. I want to hear, that is going to be the hardest thing, but the most important thing for you to do. So as those contractions get stronger, and when you're feeling them, in that crampy, like, early labor, they're still like this or like this, practice that breathing, practice that. Practice that so that when you get into active labor, it'll be so much easier to remember, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do that. Also, saying affirmations out loud, great way to cope through labor. You can say, I can do this. I am strong. Open, release, stuff like that, okay? The more you say those things, the more confident you're gonna feel about your ability to do this. So, what does labor feel like? Starts down low. Maybe you might even feel it in your pelvic floor. Starts low, feels like this, feels like this. As it develops and grows, it's going to spread because it's requiring more of the rest of your body, and it's going to be harder. They're also going to be lasting longer and being closer together. A strong contraction that's strong enough to bring your baby out of your body is going to be lasting a minute long. If your 30-second contractions usually are not strong enough to bring baby out. So if you're still having those 30-second contractions, you might need to increase the oxytocin, or you might need to rest a little bit to give yourself some more energy so your body can do what it needs to do. So look for contractions that are getting stronger and you're feeling them in more places and they are lasting a little bit longer. Braxton Hicks contractions usually last 15 to 30 seconds. Even if they're lasting a minute, but they're still like this or like this, don't worry, you still have time. Rest, take it easy. You can take all the time in the world. There's no rush. Until you are feeling pressure, especially in between contractions. Sometimes you'll feel pressure during the contraction because that's your contraction pushing baby onto your pelvic floor. But if you're feeling that strong pressure on your pelvic floor during contractions and in between contractions, And especially if you're starting to reflex push, partners, what this sounds like is if she starts to go, during contractions, then that means that it's probably time to start moseying to your birthplace. Up until then, there's no rush. Take your time. You've got this. Focus on resting, focus on hydrating, focus on your affirmations, focus on breathing. You got this.